function, perform my normal tasks, because I feel like I'm under, a lot of stress.
I feel like you really can't breathe. I felt like I was going to crawl out of my skin. I started to cry, weak, and all I wanted to do was sleep. Grace?
Bruce. Joseph is a housewife, a spouse, a mom of 2 adult children, and pretty much a family, very, very much family oriented.
I come from a close-knit Italian family, and I've always wanted to get married and have a family. Never do much of anything else. I didn't really have any big ambitions as far as the workforce goes, and I finally got married and had twins, but I was 39 when I did it, so I waited a long time.
I have generalized anxiety disorder.
OCD and depression.
When I'm put in a situation having to do with any type of a crisis, I always look at the very worst that could happen instead of the good things that could happen in a situation.
I just dwell on things, I constantly think about being sick, and I just can't put it aside ever. It's like a constant thing, and I don't have OCD to the point where it's neatness, or cleaning, or but being Catholic and stuff, sometimes I have saints all over my house, so sometimes I would kiss them several times.
I would say I have a touch of OCD in there too. And there are certain things, the way I keep my house, the way I think I don't ever do anything on spur of the moment. I have to have my schedule, my plans, everything. At the end of the day, my laundry has to be done. Whatever I plan to do, it has to be finished. And I was never diagnosed with it, but I think that that's obsessive compulsive disorder. And if I need to go somewhere, I'll kind of check and recheck that everything is in its place, or I shut the lights off, or So I think it's a mixture. I'm very germophobic. And I think that in itself has something to do with OCD.
My psychiatrist put it like this. He said, I had no desire to do anything. I didn't want to get up in the morning. I didn't want to get a shower. I didn't want to put makeup on. I didn't want to get dressed. I didn't want to go to work. I would wake up like a half an hour before I had to be in the work, and wasn't far from work, but that left me 15 minutes to get dressed and 15 minutes to go to work. So I did nothing. I took a quick shower, threw clothes on, didn't eat. I was losing weight. And he said to me, I didn't want to go shopping, was something that I loved to do with my sisters, and I didn't want to do that. And the doctor said to me, well, I'm going to put you on Zoloft, and it takes a while. It's going to take a good 2 weeks before it actually kicks in. But once it does kick in, you'll have the urge to do more. You'll want to get up in the morning. You'll want to go shopping. You'll want to get on with your life. And I didn't believe it, because I thought a medication is going to make me feel, Sure enough, after a couple weeks, after being on the medication for a couple days, I thought to myself, this is a step in the good direction. Sometimes I could actually sit down and eat dinner. Before, I couldn't even do that. But gradually, that's what happened, and I totally just got back to normal. And I'm not going to say that I'm completely better, because in the back of my head, there are still things I think of, and I still worry about my family, me, my family and my parents, my sisters, my nieces, my nephews, and my children, of course, are, I totally worry about them. But again, I can deal with it.
My heart beats faster. I get like palpitations when I really get into thinking about what's going on, and I shake. I lose my appetite. Just I feel like I don't want to do anything. I'll just sit down and I'm not going to say a depressive state, just a worried state.
I was working in ENT. This is when it all started. This is what put me on the medication. I was working in ENT, and a gentleman came in with HIV. It may have even advanced to AIDS. I'm not sure. And I was at the front desk at the time, and he handed me an envelope, and it looked like it had blood on it. Like maybe he had, or from it was red, I don't know. And I had touched it and opened it, and after I had examined everything, I thought, oh my God, there's blood on the envelope. So I thought for sure I had gotten something. Now, I'm not stupid, and I knew back then what I know now. You can't catch it from touching an envelope. And, there's only certain ways you can catch HIV. And I knew that. I knew that in the back of my head. And Keith at the time, who was my boyfriend,
who's now
the doctor I'm married to, I knew then, and he would said the same thing and how ridiculous I was being, but I couldn't. I was obsessed. I was obsessed with it. I couldn't get off of it, and it sort of threw me into a little breakdown where I couldn't function every day. I didn't know what I was going to do, and I eventually went and got an HIV. I went and got a test, which of course was negative, thank God. And even after that, that wasn't good enough. I hadn't been on the medicine yet. I hadn't seen a psychiatrist yet, but I said to myself, well, what about if the test is wrong? What about, and I called an AIDS hotline and asked, and then I thought, well, what about if I got it another way? What about if I got it from getting manicures at the salons? And I kept calling an AIDS hotline, and finally they got to know my voice, and they said that I had to stop calling. So then I knew I had to do something. So I went to a psychiatrist, and that's when he diagnosed me and put me on.
So health issues, and germs. I'm germophobic. There's no doubt about that. Yes. Okay. Back in 2001, when we had all that going on with the anthrax, and it was coming, there were letters being mailed with the anthrax in it. Well, I have a mailbox outside. I wouldn't, every day when I went to get the mail, I would have rubber gloves on, and I've even gone out there with a mask on my face, like one of those masks that keeps, or like a painter would use or something. Or maybe I would go out with the gloves, get the mail, and then I would come in and put the mask on when I opened my mail, because it made me feel better. Even though I knew if there was anthrax in any of my mail, it was, it would affect me. I mean, there's nothing you can do, not really much you could do about that. But but the gloves made me feel better. Wearing the gloves, opening up my mail. Not going to a psychologist or a psychiatrist for the reason that he probably would suggest that I go on medication, and I just don't want to take medication. I don't want to. I'm worried about medication. Like I worry about everything. I'm worried about side effects of the medication. I'm worried about changes in personality from the medication. I'm worried about just actually taking it, so I don't go to the doctors because I don't want to hear that I probably need it. So that way I just don't have to take it.
Okay. You never get rid of it, but it gets easier and it doesn't consume you, and that's where the medicine comes.
Okay.
And the higher the dose, I guess, depending on your weight and your age, if I used to be on a higher dose than I am now, and I was a little better than I am, but I'm at a decent amount, dose, and I'm fine.